Hey, hi, and hello there, Kwern here once again. And while the Caitlyn and Vi arc involving Jinx as well in Act 2 of Arcane was very interesting, there's certainly a lot going on there to talk about, I wanted to talk about today the Price of Progress arc that Jayce, Viktor, Heimerdinger, and Mel go on instead because I found it to be quite interesting. Act 2 takes place after a time skip, and it's several years later. I think the consensus is around 10 years, and it opens with Heimerdinger reminiscing with Jayce about a man named Stanwyck Pedidley before the bicentennial celebration or Progress Day of Piltover. Jayce is unfamiliar with him, but Heimerdinger explains that he was an inventor himself, but his inventions never came to fruition, due to explosions and such. He set his own ambitions aside to focus on his students, who he believed would contribute more than he ever could. Now this is a film, it's a trope, it's something that I've definitely seen before, where a relatively innocuous story is introduced at the beginning of a story arc that more or less encompasses what the story arc is going to be about. There's a word for it. I don't know what it is. If you know it, just leave a comment. Thank you. But anyway, Heimer then refers to Stanwyck Pedidley as a dear friend, and he says this with sorrow in his eyes. The whole conversation seems like just a setup to say that Jayce will be giving the Progress Day speech, but it actually connects directly with the branching stories of Heimerdinger, Viktor, and Jayce. Once again, there's a term for it. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. But the story is about the balance between the short lifespans of humans, the dangers of innovation, and the push for progress to save who you can as quickly as possible despite these dangers. It's clear that Heimerdinger favors the safe approach as much as it pains him to see generation after generation of humans die. But after it's revealed that Viktor is dying, Viktor and Jayce decide to shift into high gear, confident that they don't need to wait. Safe experimentation be damned, they have people to save. It's interesting to see the way that they value human life, Heimer being focused on the dangers of pushing things too far and too hard and possibly burning out, and Jayce and Viktor focused on the dangers of inaction. Jayce and Viktor then decide to propose the idea of presenting their newest invention, the Hextech Gemstone, at the Progress Day speech. Finally, their way of safely putting these magical gems in the hands of the common man, and improving lives throughout Piltover and Zaun. Side note, the Atlas Gauntlet reveal was sick, and the extra arm for Viktor was good foreshadowing. Heimer then prompts them to put it off for a decade, for safety reasons. You can fuck off with all of that, dude. Fast forward to the Progress Day speech, and I loved that Jayce initially wanted Viktor on stage to do the speech with him. But I hate that both of them got stifled by Heimerdinger. Their big reveal just cut off. Mel was clearly miffed about it as well. Not only may the old Yordle's wisdom cost Mel money, but it may cost Viktor's life. Jayce knows this, and a fun note is it's not just Mel that convinces him to finally stand up and kick Heimerdinger off the council, but Viktor collapsing in his lab and awakening in the hospital and overall just being in a pretty poor state. She puts the idea in his head, and Jayce may be falling in love after they, let's freaking go. But it's his friend's life being in danger that gave him the push that he needed. Bros before, beautiful women with lots of money and power. Sigma male Viktor only needs his science. Now, let's take a moment to talk about Mel a bit more. Mel is actually a mastermind of wheeling and dealing. She knows Jayce is currently the face of the upper echelon of Piltover, and he's not even on the council, so naturally she fixes that. This right after Jayce proposes suspending his life's work in favor of the safety of Piltover after the Hex Gem is stolen. His inventions are good for business, but Jayce is being hampered by Heimerdinger, so she fixes that, while also teaching Jayce to wheel and deal, by kicking Heimerdinger, the city's founder and de facto leader, off the council. Jayce eventually evolving into this great peacekeeper of Piltover position, strong-arming with his new councilship. This creating conflict all over the place with the council, the enforcers, and the Zaunites as well. Speaking of evolution, the way Viktor sees the Hextech gemstones further foreshadows his future persona. The idea of using the magic and technology to improve, adapt, and evolve becomes a defining feature of who Viktor is as his own life fades away. His assistant prompting him to walk home with her with the phrase, "There's always tomorrow," hits home because, for Viktor, we all know that phrase just isn't true. As silly as it is to joke about him rejecting a woman's advances, we all know it's because his time is running out. His journey of thought eventually reminds him of his childhood encounter with a loner scientist who we all know to be Singed, which, by the way, I'm positive that the girl that he encounters at the swimming hole later becomes the assistant that's interested in him. Just a fun little detail. Anyway, let's talk about Singed and the Shimmer, theory crafting based on a few implications here, but the rare mutation he is caring for could possibly be a void creature. The cave appears to have the same porous design as other illustrations of the void, and I believe the flowers that create Shimmer may originate from there. When you watch the scenes, it hurts knowing Singed isn't keeping Rio alive because it's his pet, but because the mutation must survive. Singed doesn't truly care about Rio's life. He only cares about using Rio for his science, and might possibly need Rio in order to create the Shimmer concoction. But after this flashback, we see that Heimerdinger tries to console Viktor a little bit. But it feels as though it falls flat given Heimer doesn't have to worry about death in the same way Viktor does. Viktor wants to leave a legacy, and his mortality isn't something Heimerdinger could easily understand. After this, we get another scene with Mel and Jayce, which is where many people began to draw the conclusion that she might be using him. She encourages Jayce to be with Viktor and assist him in what could be his final days, quickly jumping to more void motifs with Viktor as he further tries to interface with his hex gem device. We later learn that it interfaces with organic matter. And here's the crazy thing, Viktor is made of organic matter. He says the key to augmenting physiology and extending life, and Jayce answers that with curing you, showing where their priorities on the matter lie. Heimerdinger sees it and has a pretty gnarly flashback, insisting on its destruction. He also notes that something has changed about Viktor. Quite possibly that he has been staring into the void with a rune matrix and it is coursing through him. Here the line is drawn between Heimerdinger's ideology and that of Jayce and Viktor. Viktor says that he knows of someone who might be able to help with the hex gem device. And you could probably guess who that is. As Jayce makes the choice to put the enforcers to work on the bridge, all to protect the city, Viktor traverses the bridge to seek the help of Singed, a man obsessed with the organic and the only man who might be able to save him. Viktor understands a little bit more about survival at all costs as we see Rio being kept in a tube. The disagreement between Heimer and Jayce finally comes to a head at the council table on the matter of accountability. Heimerdinger seeks to preach about the houses divided, yet under him being head of the council, Zaun has fallen to disrepair and the divisions have only grown. After Heimer is kicked from the council, the conversation at the beginning of Act 2, about Stanwyck Pedidly, if you remember all that, can be seen in a new light. Innovation cannot wait. Human lives are too short and too fleeting. And that is the price of progress. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of analysis of the Act 2 arc for Jayce, Heimerdinger, Viktor, and Mel. Few theories to add before Act 3 actually takes off. The Firelight leader in the Owl Mask is Echo. He's going to use the stone to make the Z drive. All the crows, ravens, whatever, are connected to demons. Probably Swain, the Keeper of Secrets. It could be Fiddlesticks, but it's probably not Fiddlesticks. The Caitlyn x Vi ship is sailing strong. Sorry, the Jayce x Viktor shippers. And some people saying Jayce is only interested in the spotlight need to watch again. Jayce is given a little bit more depth to his character. It's not like he just wants to be famous and powerful and wealthy and stuff. Anyway, that's going to be it. I was a little bit sick. I hope you enjoyed the video. It took me a little bit of tries to get through it. I'm going to be playing the Ruined King game, which is looking hot and spicy. This video is thanks to the fact that I figured out how to screenshot Netflix. So, yep. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, blah, 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 blah. If you like this content, I'm gonna keep doing more because people are popping off about League of Legends and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm with it.